And keep your mouth shut about the past, at least until you get to know the person a little better and they understand what happened.
Welcome back to Love, X's, and O's. I'm Leah Mayersohn, and this is Denise Isaacs, and we're your two favorite divorce lawyers. You should be listening to us because we have a combined tremendous amount of experience in divorce.
And we want to help you so that you know in advance exactly how to live your life. That's why you want to listen to us.
And today, we're talking about what you might see on a first date that will make you want to run the other direction.
Let's get into it. Think about this. It's the end of your first date. You went to a fancy restaurant. You were asked out. He picked the restaurant. You get there, and then he says, "Oh, let's split the bill." He ordered the most expensive lobster on the menu. He ordered 3 bourbons, and here you are. You're going to split it? What do you speak up and do at that point?
I mean, I think it depends on your situation. I think that's pretty terrible. If you're asking someone out, you should be the one paying. And you certainly shouldn't expect the other person to split the check with you.
On the first date.
Also, I think if you're the one inviting the other person, and I don't care whether you're the woman or the man, you should be the one paying for the adventure that you're going on that evening.
And you're the one who picked the restaurant, so you know your price point and you know what you can afford.
Exactly. You never want to put someone in an uncomfortable position where they can't afford to pay for something that you've selected. I think under those circumstances, you have to speak up and you have to tell them what your expectation was.
So you say, "I expected you to pay for this." And he says, "Well, I expected us to split it." So then what I would say is, you pay for yours, I'll pay for mine, and goodbye.
Absolutely. I think it's better to be upfront and move on with your life.
Hi, guys. Adam Isaacs here, voice of the audience, specifically the male audience today. Are we not supposed to split the bill?
On the first date, never. As far as I'm concerned, the first rule of dating is if you're asking her out on a date, you're picking the restaurant, you foot the bill. You can decide to go to McDonald's. You can decide to go to the Four Seasons. Your choice.
I think that whoever invites the other person on the date should pay for the date. And it's nice if someone can afford to offer to split it. But I agree with you. On the first date, whoever set the date should be the one paying. Now, after that, you can figure out what you'd like to do.
Or you can talk about it. It's the beginning of a dialogue. It's the beginning of trust and openness. So there you are on your first date. He brought up his ex-wife 4 times negatively. Then you sit there and you think, am I a rebound or just part of his alimony spiral?
This sounds like someone who has way too much baggage.
Yes.
They're still obsessed with the ex. You need to move on.
You, as well as he, as well as anyone who's moving on from a relationship, you should know. Rule number 2 is that you don't spill and talk about your past relationships on the first date. You do not say bad things about your ex at all, because all it does is overlays it, and all you're doing is reliving the past. You're not looking forward, you're looking backwards.
Absolutely. I think it's very terrible to be speaking negatively about your ex.
Who would want to go out with somebody like that?
Absolutely. Makes you seem like you have a lot of sour grapes. Move on and move forward with your next relationship and stay on the high road.
And keep your mouth shut about the past, at least until you get to know the person a little better and they understand what happened. So what's the next question?
So the next question that we got from our viewers is, he told me he's between jobs, but has a lot of projects in development. Is that entrepreneurial or unemployed?
Oh, you need to put on your glasses. You need to figure this one out quickly. It could be that he's entrepreneurial, or it could be that he is unemployed for a really long time. How's he paying his bills? Did he save up from his last business? You need to find out more before you can make a judgment on this.
Absolutely. I agree with that one, because I think under these circumstances, depending upon what he did for a living, I think that it's fair, especially someone exiting a business, if they're taking a little bit of time before they're starting their next venture, but they're thinking of starting their next venture, that's okay. Someone who is fired from their job, hasn't been able to find unemployment, has been looking for 6 months, a year, I think that's a red flag.
I agree 1,000%. He answered a call from, quote, Ashley, his work wife, in the middle of dinner. Should I be concerned or just curious? Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, I think that this could be industry specific. I think that in the middle of dinner is very rude, especially if you're on a first date. And you better be an ER surgeon or something else that is literally life or death. Otherwise, there's absolutely no reason why someone should be picking up a call in the middle of your first date. And I think that's a huge red flag.
I think it's 1,000% red flag. There is absolutely no reason. And work wife, I don't know. That's another red flag, that somebody is after him and wants his attention and knows that he's with you and wants to make sure that you know that she's interrupting you. This is a red flag.
That I agree with. The next question from our listeners is, he was 28 minutes late.
Whoa.
He didn't apologize, said time is a construct. Is this a red flag or just Florida dating? Well, I think if the person didn't call, didn't give you the heads up, there wasn't some kind of major I-95 shutdown or something that you're aware of, this is very rude. This person does not respect your time.
Yes.
And I think this is a huge red flag and you should go running.
So let's revamp this a little bit. And let's say he was 28 minutes late and said he was sorry.
That's a different scenario. If he apologized,
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't feel badly if he called you saying, hey, listen, I'm running late. Then I wouldn't have as much of an issue at all. And, sometimes things happen. Life happens. There are accidents. The roads get shut down. Now, I think he should have left enough time to not be late.
But things happen. So
Exactly.
I would give him a pass on this one. I would not set up a red flag. Just see what happens in the future and keep it in the back of your mind. Here's the next question. He told me on the first date that he doesn't believe in marriage. Run or stay? What do you think?
Well, I think that depends on the person. And it depends. If you're looking to get married, then you need to go running. If you're not looking to get married, then you just have to see if you like the person, because then it won't be an issue for you. There are many women or men who are not looking to get married and they want to just handle things, their own way. They're willing to have a nice, committed relationship, but they just don't want to take that extra step for one reason or another. Maybe this would be their second or third marriage. They've already been through divorce. They're not looking to go ahead and commit that way, but they're willing to be in a committed relationship with someone.
But on the other hand, just think about George Clooney, okay? He was not getting married. He's not married. This one, he went out with this one for years, this one for years, this one for years. And then lo and behold, he gets married. I had a friend. She went out with this man. He was 50 years old and he had never been married. And what happened? Within a year, they were married, because it just depends on the person. And it also depends on you, because if you want to get married and this person is telling you they don't want to get married, I think that you should walk away and not take that extra step and say, well, maybe they'll change their mind. You never want to think that you're going to be with somebody and try to change them.
Absolutely.
Hi, guys. Adam Isaacs, voice of the people. Question for you. If I were, not me in particular, but if I, as the voice of the audience, approach a date and say I don't believe in marriage, does that make me, as they say, a hoe?
Not necessarily.
No, I don't think so either. I think that it's a question of it's honesty, and I would appreciate that. Although the first person that you meet, when you're saying, oh, hi, how are you? What's your name? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And you say, oh, and I don't want to get married. It's kind of a little awkward.
It's very unusual. It's very unusual to mention it up front on a first date. That's something that you usually talk about later with someone. Not on a first date.
Yeah, when there's some chemistry and you think that you like them. But on the other hand, if the person tells you upfront, even awkward or not, I am not getting married, and you want to have children and want to have a marital relationship, run out the door. It's just two people who are just disconnected. It's never going to work.
So the next question, he joked that if we ever got married, I'd have to sign a prenup. Cute banter or financial foreshadowing?
Oh, that is financial foreshadowing, and that is an absolute green flag. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for a prenup. He wants to lay it out on the table, make everything transparent. You'll know how much he has, how much he makes. He'll know how much you have, how much you make. And then there's the negotiation of what kind of a marriage you're going to have. It's an opportunity. A prenup is an opportunity for choice, a measure of control over the relationship. I think prenups are the best.
No, I agree. I'm really pro prenup. And I think that going through a prenup and going through the process really helps people solidify what their relationship is going to be like. And they can have a foreshadowing of how the other person's going to behave and how things are going to go in the course of their marriage. And just because you sign a prenup doesn't mean that that's the final deal that you end up with. Because over time, I always tell couples, come back to me if you want to change this. And I usually tell people after 10 years, you should do a postnup, change some of it, be more generous. Once you see that the relationship is working, it's not as much of a problem.
The have-not, as opposed to the have, has to keep track of it, but things end up being much more open and the person can be more generous, except that the have-not has to make sure that she gets it in writing or he gets it in writing. It's very important. That prenup can cut you out of inheriting anything. So you need to make sure that your spouse has a will. It's important, and to make sure that you know that you're there and that you've looked at it.
Absolutely, 100%, because I think there are a lot of people who are unfortunately surprised in a bad way with the unexpected death with their spouse. The next question from our listeners is, he casually invited me back to his place and told me as we got there that he lives with his mom for now.
I had someone send me something that said as follows: she wouldn't date me because I lived with my mother, but she'll date somebody who's married.
Oh, wow.
The question is this a temporary situation or is this permanent? Is he trying to save money so he can buy himself a residence, or is he unemployed and his mother is supporting him? You never know. Sometimes things happen. And so I would put this in a question mark situation. Now let's talk about the awkwardness. He invited you back to his house. His mother lives there. What are you going to do? Get out of his bedroom and walk directly into his mother? I mean, that's kind of embarrassing.
That's not just embarrassing. It's creepy. I think that's very creepy.
So what do? I like you. I'd like to see you again, and let's talk about this. Or you can invite him back to your place the next time.
I was going to say, also, why are you going back to his place if you just met this guy?
I haven't gone out in 44 years. I've been married, okay? But we used to have a 3-date minimum of before you would, get intimate with somebody. Do they still do that?
I think it depends on the people, but yes, I think that, people usually wait to get intimate with someone until they get to know them a little bit better. And if they're not much is going to happen with the relationship after they hook up with them on the first date.
So you're out on a date. He showed me a picture of his ex 15 minutes into the date. She was beautiful. Should I be insecure, or is this a red flag?
I think this is a huge red flag.
Yep.
I think you need to go running from this person who's showing you photos of their ex.
Oh, God.
This is just creepy. You don't want a third person in your relationship, and she's on his mind instead of you, and you're right there in front of him.
Right.
So go running and screaming from this one.
1,000%. He's into her and he's not into you.
Remember, a bad date might be annoying, but it's a lot better than ignoring the red flags and going ahead and marrying someone and dealing with the consequences afterwards.
If he says he doesn't believe in marriage, he doesn't believe in accountability, he doesn't believe in banks, that's not a man. That's a walking red flag.
Yes, that's a court filing waiting to happen.
You need to take the time before you get married to explore everything with a potential spouse and to be very, very systematic about it and very hard-nosed.
If you have a deal breaker that makes you walk out of the date before dessert, please send us DMs at Mayersohn Law Group or info@loveexesos.com.
And remember, marriage is a contract. Read the fine print.